So I'm going to talk a little bit about UI and UX, the way we see it at Alephium, and then I would like to start kind of an open discussion with you guys to know a little bit about your experience in your projects and how you see UI UX in the industry in general. So a few words about me. So I'm Mika. I've started in the crypto industry in 2016, so it's been a while now. And I was with Alephium from the very beginning, actually, in 2019. Started with just doing the logo and the visual identity, and at the end I ended up with doing 2 wallets, an Explorer, a website, NFTs, rendering stuff, all the things you see on Twitter. I'm working with Elias on the front end, and mostly with Vlad on the content. And I really feel like I've been saying the same things for 7 years now. Yeah, really. So it's easy actually. It's always the same. No, but yeah, 7 years ago I was like, okay, crypto is the beginning. I see where it can go. We just need to make things a little bit more simple. Yeah. And I think there's still a lot to be done, and I really think that we need good user experience to finally reach mass adoption. Yes. Je suis pas dans le cadre. Okay. At Alephium, from the very beginning of the project, when we still are a small team, but from the very beginning we decided that making accessible apps was one of the priorities. So even though we were small, we focused on trying to create good UI and UX. And from what I got, the feedback that I got so far, I think one of the best UX in crypto, let's say it. I want to believe that, and that's my fuel. No, but I think we are a small team, and I'm quite proud of what we achieved so far. So I think it's good to think about that from time to time. But we are just getting started, and I think many things can still be improved. Because as tech matures, as we understand what we are doing and where we want to go, I really feel that we get more and more confident. And at Alephium, we can see, like, it's crazy to see what happened in the last 1.5 years. We really get more and more diverse user groups. So we are trying to make the whole ecosystem as accessible as possible to even, get more and more users. So we are working on simplifying the onboarding process. In the mobile app, we followed what Uniswap is doing. We removed the PIN. We try to remove some of the steps to get in. We focus on what counts. So storing funds, sending transactions, of course, but also interacting with dApps. We play with Wallet Connect a lot. We lived through a lot of pain because of Wallet Connect too, but hopefully it's worth it. We try to continue to hide the tech complexities. So we will work soon on group abstraction. For me, that's one of the main pain points right now. Like, users don't have to understand about the groups when they want to interact with the dApp. And we try to continue to slim down the UI while adding more features. So that's a challenge, but I think it's super interesting and it's just necessary. And today I would like to show you a little bit what we've been working on for the next iterations of our products, especially the mobile wallets. So in the design process, I really try to, get straight to the point. So in the next iteration, what we would like to do is to support multiple wallets. We want to support read-only wallets as well. So if you want to follow addresses, you don't need to write, you don't need to send transactions, but you just want to see the amounts and the prices. We will want to work on having a warm, reassuring vibe, and that's what it would maybe look like, hopefully. That was before, so that's the app you know. It's good, but I feel many things can still be removed, basically. Like the header on top here, too many icons. This I don't like. The tabs I don't like anymore. So, so, so yeah, here you have a much simpler approach with a focus on the main actions. Instead of having tabs and multiple layers of that require the user to actually dig into the interface and understand what is going on, I just show the list of tokens. You could now filter the tokens. You have a dedicated NFT tab because a few months ago or a year ago, we had basically no NFT projects, and now we start to have plenty of NFT projects, which is super cool to see. You could group the NFTs by collection. So always trying to improve readability. But if we go with that, we will lose. You don't see it really well. It's an Easter egg. So there's an Easter egg in here somewhere, and nobody found it actually. So yeah, it's hard to find. But just so you know, before the next update, you still have a chance to discover this amazing Easter egg. Yeah, just the light theme. We also had the dark and light theme from the very beginning, and I think it's super important. Before, this is the address screen. I really don't like this screen at all. Yeah, I designed it, but I don't like it. And so again, trying to keep things as simple as possible. So instead of having those fancy cards trying to look like Revolut, which is not necessarily a good example, just have a list of addresses with just what you want to see. So the amounts, the kind of assets that you have per address, a search bar, and that's pretty much it. Another thing, so trying to improve reachability. So you use your phone with your thumb. And so if most of the actions are at the very top of the screen, it's quite painful. So we don't see a thing actually. So yeah, if you want to improve the user flow, just try to put the main action near the bottom of the screen. Limits the number of buttons and action, and try to let the user always easily verify what they are doing, because it's actions that involve money, of course. So yeah, let's say you need to enter the destination address. Just let the user actually be able to double check the whole address instead of using ellipses and hiding most of it. Yeah, another example of trying to let the user verify. Like at Alephium, we are the one of the few blockchain allowing to send many assets in one transaction. And so if you can see what you're actually doing and what you actually want to send, that's better. So I'm still working on it right now, and I'm working as well on the desktop wallet V3. Yeah, and I can't wait for you to actually see what's coming. But it's supposed to be a workshop. So this was what we are working on. And now I would really like to know about your experiences. I want to decentralize this presentation a little. It's not only laziness. So during the weekend, I went to see some of you and asked if you would like to participate. And because you are an awesome community, and I really mean it, look at you. I mean, you're beautiful. Yeah, I want to ask you this. What are your main pain points right now in Web3? The main adoption blockers in UI and UX? How do you try to do good UX in your own projects? What are you looking forward to in the future? And also, what do you think about our apps? What are the main pain points in our apps? I think we are now ready to accept the criticism. And yeah, and so we could start with maybe Hux. Do you want to chime in?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was such a nice presentation. Yeah.
Not at all rehearsed or staged. No, very natural.
No, it's yeah. The adapters.
The other thing is, yeah, thank you. So I have to say that the reason I'm here, like why I like Alephium, is because of the UX. Because that was the first project that I've seen. So I'm a huge fan of you, basically. Because the reason I'm here is that Web3 UX has been super techy and just it's complex technology. So people think they have to do complex products, and that's why there's no adoption. So actually, what got me hooked is seeing how the website is done in a one-pager blockchain product. Like it's amazing and it's impossible how the wallet UX is done. So I use these frames for examples in our project to see that how it could be done. So there's a lot to learn there. And I think the more you abstract, the easier for the users to interact. And now, since the whole world is like super fast, lots of information, people don't really have too much time, and effort to spend on things. So you really want to think, and that's what I want to maybe add here to your thoughts, is that if we zoom out a bit of UX or kind of consider not just the product, but who's going to use our product, what their job that they want to do, and what they're trying to achieve by using our product, that can give us very good pointers. And I just kind of want to show, like, sorry, I brought some slides.
Yeah, actually, what you just said reminded me of the progress we had, and I said we have a more diverse user group now. During the first couple of years, we really focused on trying to get miners and developers in the ecosystem, and now we are broadening really the spectrum of people we want to.
Regular people like me who just want to use apps. Yes.
Yeah.
So. And this is the slide that I use for this is, I think, the key to understand what good UX is and how to think about that is that here are the smart persons who do the stuff, like developers, innovators, and designers also, like, this is the best design because I made it. And it's really good, but it's inside out perspective. You're sitting in the forest and you look at the trees. It's really hard, to see the forest from outside. This is why the key thing in good UX design, I think, is changing your perspective, being able to think with the head of the users outside in. It's really hard because you have to play dumb and have to think that you don't know what the product does, and you have to approach from the outside in too. And if you hit this sweet spot, making sure that the users can do what they want to do with the tech that you're developing, that's where the magic happens, and that's when product market fit can go to mass adoption. But do you agree with this little slide?
I do.
And there's many cool. Okay, these are not. And then, so what I wanted to show also is that it's really lucky when hang on. It's really lucky when you have a company and management and people who understand that the need for good UX. But most of the UX designers who work in the field are coming to places when there's already a product, already a website, already like whole things being built up without necessarily considering UX in the first place. So what can you do when there's no user-centric approach in design, but you have to fix things, or what is there to do? So what's there to do is that you can actually just talk to users and kind of, this is actual, it's NIM users telling me, like a lot of them, how they interact with what kind of products. When they get to know about the projects, how they discover the technology, what they do on the website, and then the specific journeys that they go to buy tokens. Lots of boxes not good. 2 boxes good, 700 boxes, like super complex process. We lose the users. Also, this was I think the product, the wallet download, and kind of the product usage. It's less boxes, better, but still too many steps, too complicated for users. So basically, you have to map out what's happening, then rethink how can you simplify, certain steps, how can you group some stuff, and then kind of improve the UX step by step. And maybe the last thing I'm wanting to share is that UX is one very good term, but there's also like a broader term which is called service design, which when you think about, it's not only a product that you're building, but it's also a service around that product, and also thinking with the heads of the users, how do you know about the service? What do you read? And how do you start to engage? And one very key point in this is employee experience, or actually the people who enable that user experience, how easy it is to service the users, how techy is the support processes, and how to simplify our internal processes so we can serve the users better. So one of my first, and I can stop sharing, one of the first jobs that I've done, like big job, I worked at Vodafone Hungary, and we were simplifying the retail store experience. And it was crazy to see that retailers, like Vodafone people working in retail stores, had to use 25 different software apps. It took years to like log a ticket, and like it was just a mess. So what we did, we mapped that out. We get rid of 90% of all the tools that they're using, and they were just able to serve customers quicker, more efficient. People had a better time, less waiting in the stores, and it just made a tremendous difference. Just cutting out unnecessary stuff from the process of giving the service to like mobile phone subscriptions or something.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I think when you get used to something, like you want to achieve an action, and I see that in Web3 as well. Even if it's a young field, you do something the same way for 4 or 5 years, and then you think that's the only way to do this thing.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily true. A group of people at the very beginning decided that fees needed to be paid like that with this kind of process. And it's always good to take a step back and say, hey, maybe we can do better.
Yeah.
And I feel like, and I'm surprised that in our field where we are all about innovation, it seems like it's something that we are struggling to do properly.
And I think one reason for that is that blockchain tech is super exciting and innovative, and it's it's novel, and it's there's so many layers that there's layers I don't even know what's happening on, certain cryptographic layers. I'm like lost because I never studied cryptography, but it somehow makes us think that all the solutions that we do have to kind of represent this very novel complexity of the technology.
Yeah.
Whereas the simpler you make the tools, I think the future of blockchain UX is that people don't even know they use any blockchain. Just click an app, they buy this ticket, or they go to whatever, buy a beer. I just want to use an app, tap, send, go in, done. I don't care what chain it runs on. I don't care about, I care about that it goes through. I care about that the transaction succeeds. But as a user, I don't want to know.
Care,
And again, just to praise Alephium UX a bit more, the sharded chain abstraction in the wallet is something extremely well designed and done. Like how users interact in the wallet don't have to know about the entire sharded infrastructure under. That's a really good example of how abstraction will even go higher and higher. And in the end, I maybe don't even have to see all my addresses, just kind of click buttons and interact with dubs based on like another prompt. And it comes, change, if something says that it's going to change my address or something, but I don't need to know about all this stuff. I just want to get my job done. And maybe the last term is users always have jobs to be done, like what stuff they want to achieve by using a product. If you map this out and if you know the users enough by research, then you're done, because you only want to serve that job that the user has as a need, So so that's a very good job on that. I'm like
thanks so much. Thank you so much, and thank you for participating. It's
easy. Cool. My pleasure.
Thank you. Timothy, you want to share your experience?
Say something, but I think he said probably everything.
At the end I was like, you would probably say pretty much the same.
Sorry.
But I think for me, it's like, for example, I use many DeFi projects, but I'm not a developer myself, right? I understand how they work. But because I'm not a developer, I feel I could explain to my designers how... Should I wear?
Yeah,
I can hold it. How I wanted to have it, because I wanted to use it myself. That was the main idea behind Alfbanks, that I wanted to use it in a way how I wanted to use it, right? And the devs, they were trying to send us dashboards how to do it, but it was like, I was so disappointed. It was like really hurtful. I was like, are they even good devs? But they are good devs, right? And I feel like there has to be the separation between developers and the person that really creates that dashboard, because it's very hard for developers to get on the other side of that. I don't understand why, but it's somehow, they think way too complex, and to create the user experience, it's the opposite of complexity. And I think that's probably most of it, right? How you have to do it. And for us, we use certain colors, right, to basically have some on each dashboard it connects to each other. So there's like this repetition. And I think small details are also important. Like when we show, for example, the main dashboard, we thought, okay, what can we show that will be interesting, right? And then we said like, okay, let's show how much total collateral is in and total depth, for example. And then we said like, okay, we can just show numbers, 2 numbers under each other, right? But then we thought, okay, but the good thing is if it grows the numbers, that's a benefit for users to see, they feel more confident, right? So we integrated a chart, and then we used, again, the colors that we have, the green color in that chart again, so it again connects that user more to that project. And yeah, I feel that's most of it, and it's all redoing over and over again. It's not like a job that takes like 20 hours. For us, it took probably 500 hours to really do it, because we just start with a wireframe.
And you iterate.
Yes, and then the developers come in and say like, oh no, we should integrate more buttons. And then I was like, oh no, now we need to restructure it again. And then it moves always. The developers come in, and then the designers come in. And the best thing we did then at some point, just connect the designers with the developers, make a sheet, and then question it. You know, what should we else integrate, and then combine that, and then you need those kind of people together, I feel.
I agree.
If I may share my personal experience with the mobile wallet while implementing the awesome designs from Mika and working with him on it. At some point, you work on some screens for months and you get a tunnel vision. And then later on, well, I have a dev wallet and I have an official production wallet running, and that I use with my own funds that I stake on AIN, or I don't know, buy NFTs and so on. The moment I use my wallet, it's completely it changes completely the perspective of the experience that I have than when I use the dev wallet. When it's my funds and it's not testnet tokens, it's like I put a completely different hat, and I notice, oh, this is really frustrating. Why do I have? It's shitty, actually. Yeah. What the fuck? Why? Why do I have to switch 3 times? I would expect it to do it 2 times, and then I go back to the dev app and I fix it, and I push a new version. So I would encourage, if you could, to let your developers become your users. Maybe you can incentivize them in a certain way, or give them actual production things to work on that they can gain from it. or they can, so that they really put the shoes of the user and
but for them it's so hard to really do that, because at first we told them, can you tell us what buttons we will need? And it was just like, have you seen that? I was really like sad. I was like, oh no, I can't like even you know. But it's just a process over time, and I think you have to be very far away from being a numbers guy and more a creative artist, because it's more an art, right, than it is numbers.
Just one thing, because you made me think of that. There's so much noise in this industry because so many things are happening, and the tech is always changing. So we try to add all the features we can do to be the first movers, to the first to do something. And me, when I design my mockups, actually, I try to remove the noise. I try not to use like hundreds of wallets, just because it's so confusing. There's so many ideas. I try to really step into the user's shoes. They don't know about all this. They don't know about the hundreds of wallets out there. I'm like, okay, I want to move my funds. And so it's only after a few iterations that I go and compare with the other products that are out there. And it really helps me to streamline and simplify the things. Question? Yes.
This one.
Thank you. Yeah, so we are also creatives, so we are also working a lot on the UI, UX design, product development. And first of all, I would also like to commend you on the design, like everybody else. It was also one of the first things that really attracted me to Alephium, was the quality of all the product you guys are delivering, from the Block Explorer to the wallets. I just wanted to make a point about the role of language in UI, UX design, because I think what we are used to in Web3 as kind of Web3 nerds is that we're used to all this jargon, this industry language. It's very cryptic. And I think to bring in new users, we have to explain things in a language that they understand,
Right.
that they can relate to. So, if you're onboarding somebody through a wallet or through a application, and you have to think of terms like maybe more related to a bank account or to a service that they are accustomed to, and not bother users with all this very technical language, which you see in a lot of Web3 products.
Yeah.
And especially, I think, in DeFi, I think this is one of the things that is really an issue with DeFi, is that we have to think about how to make DeFi more accessible, maybe gamify DeFi more for users so that it also becomes more playful and just a nice experience for people to engage with
More
these,
natural.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I totally agree. We had many discussions internally at one point about the what is an account, what is an address.
Yeah.
In our wallet, we consider that an address is kind of an account. Like you have your holidays address, you could have your DApp address.
Yeah.
But in other projects, they use account to say wallet. Wallet is an account for them. There's no consensus yet. Like we don't, and this is confusing. Like as a user, okay, what is a wallet? What is an address? What is? And so I totally agree with you.
What I said before was that also that you don't even maybe want to see all these different addresses, right? If you can combine that into one, wallet, and you just have your funds in there.
Yeah.
So yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
But what I would say around that is like my traditional banking, I have one account I log into, i.e. my Alephium mobile wallet, but I have a checking two, a savings, and they all serve a different purpose, right?
Yeah.
And I send and pay for things out of different accounts because of how I want to set up my finances. So having multiple addresses, I personally, I think is a great thing in the wallet, and being able to break that up. The biggest pain point I see when I talk to family or friends about getting them, and even Mark, for example, how his wife will only buy an asset if it's on Coinbase. But from a Web3 environment in general, is talking to my uncle and getting him to on-ramp money into Coinbase, to then send it to an exchange that has Alephium, to then set up a personal wallet on their phone or on their desktop, it's like I'm speaking a foreign language to them, right?
Yeah.
So the holy grail, in my opinion, is you can do all of that within the wallet.
It's coming, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Your dream.
That's my dream, and it's coming. So great.
Thank you. Yeah.
So one of the things I don't know how you thought about this problem, but where are your new users coming from? Because when you discuss with somebody, hey, what projects do you use? And I don't know, I start talking with them about, I use Bitcoin, I use Alephium, and they're like, oh, okay, cool. So how does the user learn? What can I do with it? What can I use it for?
Yeah, I think you're first of all you're attracted by the crypto field in general, and that's a really good question, because I guess you go on social media, and then most of the users are, I guess, attracted by greed, and they want to earn money, and then they try to find the best horses to bet on. Right now, I think it's the main things. That's what that is happening. And personally, what I would love to see at one point is people actually coming to the field without knowing that they're coming to crypto. That's what we said before. You just have Revolut and another app. The other app is cheaper. It's easier to use. It's relying on crypto. And so as a blockchain, we still have to offer our users those more technical features right now, but we try to make a kind of a hybrid to also serve those users and to get in that direction. Like the buy option directly in the wallet, for instance, is going in that direction. But yeah, I hope that we will get less people interested in just earning money and more. Yeah.
There's like half of the question that still has to be addressed, which is how do people discover what can I do within this ecosystem? Right.
Yeah.
I want to say something to that.
Yeah.
Is it
Go ahead.
possible at some point that Alephium integrates into the wallet, for example, different protocols itself through their own dashboards, having this, everything in one?
There's a bit of a legal limitation here. As in, it depends what level of integration that you want, as in pointing, like maybe there's different ways, right? The way where they are fully in the mobile app, this not, because then it would be considered that we operate your service. So that wouldn't work.
Yeah.
So you have to navigate like the app that we publish under our entity. We are kind of legally liable for what they are offering. But when you do have ways to do that, that can be pointing to a link, that can be having an embedded browser, but that link kind of opens in app, but it's still kind of on a browser.
Yeah.
So there are several options to do that, and it's always about navigating how do we do this in a way that doesn't expose us to any liability for what.
And security issues.
Connected to an API just to that, and then like Torchain does it the same. I think they connect to Ledger, and then on Ledger if you swap, it swaps in the background, right?
Yeah.
And they get some kind of fees.
Yeah.
It would be nice if you have a desktop wallet for users if they have other DeFi projects they're using it, so they can manage through the desktop wallet maybe immediately also those assets that they have locked in other projects, so they don't have to go like to that dashboard, then to that one, then to that one, and then maybe even have options to use that through that. Wallet then.
Through an API to unify the experience
and then you don't have. It's like you just connect to them, right?
Yeah.
There's still like liabilities for that, even if it's not your own creation.
But there's also the idea behind, like we don't want. I think I can speak for Alephium as a whole. Like right now, we don't want to say, hey, this player is the main one in that field, and we want to highlight this one. It's still too soon to do that, I think, and it's good to let just things go and see how it, how it's going.
Cap, right? On some caps, like how much growth it has or how many users.
Yeah, we could do that.
Say, okay, like 10,000 users, it can be listed so that also drives users to keep pushing their own product
organically, and then
it's like, okay, you get like some milestones, or if you get that, you get even more.
What was it your question? Like when you come in the Alephium field,
into the Alephium ecosystem.
what can you do? Okay, I didn't get your question at first.
You have like there's a website that there's a outlet that kind of centralize all of the ecosystem. Again, if you have a gap and you're not there, add yourself. Just to touch on you, I think there's also about the goal is to not be centralized and be as permissionless as possible. So I think that at least, especially in the early stage, like Mika said, probably whatever we do, I hope that whatever we implement kind of remains open, again, to let the ecosystem develop itself without necessarily choices. And it can be that later on, what you suggest can be, I think there might be like, of course, like if you're a known scammer, for sure will. Sure, but the approach should be as open as possible, because I think the goal is to, again, kind of not further centralize and have more reliance on the core team. Like that was kind of one of the final point of Cheng's talk, like kind of decentralize the team. So just making sure that whichever approach we choose, especially in the beginning, is as open as possible, so everyone kind of is able to be shown, and then iterate on top of that to make sure we don't overcomplexify in the beginning and maybe hinder the growth of certain ecosystem or project, or show favoritism, bias in our approach.
I think one more thing, and then we continue with the questions. This should probably be done in multiple steps. And before adding that in the wallets directly, maybe using the Explorer for that. Like you actually want to explore what's in the ecosystem. That could be a good use case to improve the Explorer and add this new layer about the ecosystem. That could be nice. And then see how it goes and think about adding that directly.
Because then you have less steps, right? If you want to make a swap example on the Alph wallet, and then you would have like an API with IIN, and you can just swap in the app, and it goes in the backend. And then they still make their money, but users have like this 1-2 step less.
Of course.
This is like the goal, to make it as simple as well. Like, change. Not now you go IIN, connect wallet, need to open Google, you know,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you
yeah.
have the steps, and then you go like, nah, I'm not going to wait now. Even if it dumped, I'm not going to send 2 more dumps more. And then you're like, I will
Yeah. I think we definitely want to go that way. It's maybe a bit too soon, but that's the goal for sure. Yeah.
This is an open question, but I'm wondering since like years now. I wonder what you think. It's like an open question, what I'm thinking about. So one of the even if there's offline and there's this explorer where you can explore apps, the users still have to know what a DEX is, what they can do in a DEX, why they want to go to a DEX. You know how like kind of they have to know a lot to be able to interact with things. So what I'm missing, or kind of just an open question, why don't we use like video game logic? Like you arrive in the first level, you first thing to do is to set your wallet. Maybe call something else, but like set your passport up. Passport is the wallet, so you can go and interact in this room with this. So kind of like a gamified way using video game logic to guide users through the possible realm of possibilities. And then if you want to make,
we like there's a lot of tools actually that allow you to do that, like ZQuest and things like this. And unfortunately, so in theory, it sounds wonderful. In practice, I feel like we've tried it openly, like as an outside our own ecosystem. So like this is something that I think we shared on Twitter. And in practice, 99% of the people who did this is airdrop farmer or things like this, didn't stay a second in the ecosystem.
It's even, if you think about it, it's even like broader, like mixing gaming mechanics and financials is dangerous in general. It's not just for the risk of farming, there's the risk of farming, but there's also the risk of scamming, there's the risk of people not understanding what they do. Finance is not a game, right? Like when you spend money. Well, it is for some people, right? Like if you make it like a video game, then very quickly you can develop in like dangerous stuff.
You need to have strategies to really play the game right, and then.
But not everyone is capable of having those in the first place.
Like most states have even laws to like separate games from finance, right? Or they make rules to really try to separate those. I agree. There's elements of games, but you don't want to know who you're playing with, right? Like, you're playing with people who know how to take risks, fine. Right?
I think one good first step is to start simple and say, hey, what do you want to do? You want to pay? Like talk with the words that people know from their bank, like from the usual stuff that normal people are using. Do you want to pay for something? Yeah. Do you want to invest? Oh, if you want to invest, maybe you can have this strategy. It's more risky, but you can do it. Or you have this safer strategy, and that's it. And just go that way.
I mean, at our level, it would be more, what are you interested to do? Are you looking to trade? Here are the dApps that touch trading.
Exactly.
You want to
exactly.
Play. Here are the dApps that touch.
I'm sorry. Like, if we want to take, just go ahead.
Why not this like onboarding experience for the new users? They have to learn a lot of things. Why not like integrate a chatbot that will help, like for example, that will say, okay, what do you want to do? And here are your options. For example, you want to swap a coin or you want to set up a wallet, and then the chatbot would go with the user for all the steps and help.
Yeah, that would be nice actually.
UX again, but it's again, I want to say it's we are docs, right? We're centralized. There's an entity, there's a thing. So it's always about how much endorsement we give to things.
Yeah.
So I think, but this would be easy to set up. Like we already have a boss that does this. You just have to you have to maintain it. And this is a little bit the hard part, because if we're the one doing that, it means we, on top of our actual day job, we have to keep track of everything that happens and make sure that we keep it maintained. So actually, it would be a nice thing to be done one of the things that would be nice to be done from a community perspective.
Exactly, if we can decentralize this.
For people to add themselves to it, so it's people that can add themselves to that rather than people having to constantly monitor and check, because there's a lot of overhead, especially because our ecosystem is doing really well and there's a lot of things happening at the same time.
The DAO will give you a grant, do it.
Yeah, sure, maybe. But I was thinking about more like like not endorsing some dApps, but more of the bridging the gap for a normal user, how to start with diving into the crypto ecosystem. Like it doesn't have to be like really. Right now, the learning curve is too steep.
They try to train it on the detail, on many, like on the code or many stuff, and at some point you ask more and more questions, and at some point it starts to invent and to bullshit you basically.
Hallucinate, yeah.
Yeah, and so it's still dangerous to
yeah.
So, but there are like some filters.
Like we have a fact, right? And you think a fact is easy, right? Like simple questions, simple answers. But like over 2 years, we have changed a lot of stuff, and the fact needs to evolve, and that keeping the content fresh is something people underestimate in terms of like actual involvement of the work. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think here the idea was to start with just the basic onboarding of explaining the main features and not necessarily like explaining the whole ecosystem, basically. Yeah. That's interesting. But I agree with Maud. If this could start from the community, that would be best. Integrating with the wallet,
maybe on the website. Like.
Yeah.
No, but to not overcomplicate it, like my uncle, for example, is not going to go on AIM and buy, Headroom, not going to buy GigaChain. It's just, he's going to hold out, keep it simple, right? But no, but
you didn't sell it right.
Yeah, I know. I didn't want his head to explode, right? But there's going to be different levels of users with different level of experience. Just like in banking, in investing, not everybody trades futures and options, and so it's super complicated in finance if you really get into depth on it. So there's going to be different users of different knowledge levels. So the core is keeping it as simple as possible at the basic level of buying, sending, trading ELF, but there's going to be layers beyond that always of complexity.
Yeah.
I also think that,
we have to take questions.
As the core team, our responsibility is to make sure we give a platform for the apps that are built on Alephium to actually do this. Because at the end of the day, if you're building something on Alephium, you also have to build your customer base. Like that is part of the things you have to do if you build a business, if you build a project. So I don't think we necessarily would have the responsibility to build that customer base for you, but give you the space and the ways for you to reach out to this customer base that you can do that part. So finding the right balance between making sure project have the space to do so and finding the right balance between that.
Example of that is like
the core team, now we let the people speak.
But then you're 15 minutes late in the session.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a workshop. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, one comment on the mass adoption for Sesame wallet. We had a lot of non-technical users, and one of the biggest problem we had for those users was the seed management. And so this is really like, if you're talking about crypto first users, the seeds, they kind of don't get the point. Half of them will actually set the password, and then they think they don't need the seed anymore. Yeah. And the other half is just getting scammed into inputting it on a website. And so this seed management, it would be really good, I think, for the full ecosystem if we sit down like between all wallet builders and we think of the best way to simplify this seed management.
Yeah, that's the main pain point.
Yeah, that's
sure.
a very big pain point.
Help abstractions also maybe make that.
Yeah. So this is something we can do pretty much like it's easy compared to the smart wallet, and maybe we want to look into this the smart wallet and how
it would be good to have a workshop between like
focusing on that.
Yeah,
exactly. Definitely. Yeah.
I think yesterday Shane introduced the notion of passwordless.
Yeah, using passkeys instead of the mnemonics and
that would be a game changer.
Yeah. I agree, 100%. Yeah.
I just want to add what he said. So one of the things, I mean, the list of things that we at least think a lot about is like seed, super hard for most people. Then you have gas, which is also a pain point, and then you have shards. So once you fix those, then I get to the second point, which came to me when I was chatting with somebody that's like it's a vet, like he has no idea about this space at all.
Yeah.
And then he asked me like, what's a wallet, or why do I need a wallet? And that made me think like, why do we have to call it a wallet? Like, you fix those. I mean, people are used to apps. Like, people are used to like things like Revolut or like whatever other app. So then you just brand it to whatever you wanted to brand it, and then you got an app. And then it's same like we got seed traces, and that's like the login thing, right? And then people are used with like email and password. Well, actually, they don't care how that works. So you just have an app.
Exactly.
Yeah. Don't call it a wallet.
But you see also with other applications, like I use one password, for example. You also have like this master key thing as well, you know, that you have to fill in once every while, or so. Yeah, there is kind of like still a little bit of wiggle room to, have a little bit of complexity, but I think it has to be hidden.
Yeah.
You have a hard job. Good luck.
Thank you. All right, I think we can stop. Yeah, we all
contributing to making the Alephium ecosystem accessible and fun. So you also have a hard job.
Perfect final words. Everybody has a hard job, so congratulations.